If you've priced a hair transplant in the US, the UK, or Western Europe, you've probably seen numbers between $10,000 and $20,000. And then you've seen a turkey quoting a fraction of that for the same procedure. So the obvious question is how? And the question right behind it, the one that most people are really asking, does cheaper mean worse? In this video, we'll answer both. We'll break down exactly why prices in Turkey are lower, factor by factor, and we'll be honest about what the low price does and doesn't tell you about quality. By the end, you'll understand the economics well enough to spot the difference between a clinic that's affordable for the right reasons and one that's cutting the wrong corners. A hair transplant in Turkey is cheaper mainly because of the exchange rate and lower local costs, and not because the surgery itself is different or lower quality. The same graft performed by the same kind of specialist with the same equipment simply costs far less to deliver in Istanbul than in London or Los Angeles. There's no single reason. It's a stack of factors that compound: a favorable exchange rate for foreign patients, lower operating and labor costs, very high patient volume, and intense competition between clinics. We'll go through each one because once you see how they add up, the price stops looking suspicious and starts making sense. No, a lower price in Turkey does not automatically mean lower quality. The cost difference comes from where the procedure happens, not from skipping steps. A skilled Istanbul surgeon using sapphire FUE or DHI is doing the exact same work as a surgeon charging 4 times more abroad. That said, let's be straight with you. Cheap can mean risky if you choose badly. Turkey has world-class clinics, and it also has clinics that cut real corners, rushing cases, leaving the surgery to unsupervised technicians, packing too many patients into a day. So the price being low is normal. The price being suspiciously low, with no surgeon named, no clear technique, and no aftercare, is the warning sign. The goal isn't to find the cheapest clinic, it's to understand why a good clinic in Turkey can be genuinely affordable, which is the rest of this video. The exchange rate is the single biggest reason. When you pay in dollars, pounds, or euros, your money converts into a large amount of Turkish lira. So a price that's completely normal for the local economy looks like a steep discount to you. Clinics price their services in line with local costs, which are set in Turkish lira. A foreign patient earning and paying in a stronger currency effectively buys the same service at a fraction of what it would cost back home. Nothing about the procedure changed, only the currency you're paying with did. This one factor alone explains a huge share of gap before you even get to anything else. Running a clinic in Turkey simply costs less. Lower rent, lower utilities, and lower staffing costs than an equivalent clinic in North America or Western Europe. Those savings flow straight into the price you pay. Think about everything that sits behind a procedure: the building, the electricity, the sterilization, the salaries of the surgical team, and support staff. Every one of those line items is cheaper in Istanbul than in any major Western city, often by half or more. A clinic abroad has to price all of that into your quote. A clinic in Turkey is working from a much lower baseline, so it can charge less and still run a serious, well-equipped operation. High volume lowers the price through economies of scale. Turkey is one of the busiest hair transplant destinations in the world, and clinics that perform thousands of procedures a year buy supplies in bulk and spread their fixed costs across far more patients. It works in 2 ways. First, purchasing. A clinic ordering blades, implanter pens, and consumables by the thousands pays much less per unit than a low-volume practice buying the same items in small batches. Second, expertise. Surgical teams that operate constantly become faster and more consistent. And that efficiency is real, as long as volume never comes at the cost of time and care each individual case needs. At a well-run clinic, high volume is what makes great work affordable. At a bad one, it's an excuse to rush. The volume isn't the problem, how a clinic handles it is. Yes, Istanbul has one of the highest concentrations of hair transplant clinics anywhere in the world. And that level of competition keeps prices keen and standards high. When dozens of clinics are competing for the same international patients, nobody can overcharge for long and nobody survives on poor results. Reviews travel fast. That pressure pushes good clinics to keep prices fair and to keep improving their technique, their facilities, and their aftercare. As Vera Clinic, we've been operating for over 13 years with more than 40,000 patients treated, and staying competitive that long in a market this crowded only happens by getting results right consistently. Yes, Turkey actively promotes itself as a medical tourism destination, which has helped build the infrastructure that makes treatment here smooth and affordable. Health tourism is treated as a serious part of the economy, with regulation and accreditation frameworks for the clinics that serve international patients. Part of the ecosystem is TÜRSAB, the Association of Turkish Travel Agencies, which oversees the travel side of medical tourism, the transfers, accommodation, and logistics bundled into patient packages. Vera Clinic is a TÜRSAB member, which matters because so much of the affordable, all-inclusive model depends on that travel and hospitality infrastructure working reliably alongside the medical care. A proper all-inclusive package covers far more than surgery. The procedure itself, your hotel stay, airport and clinic transfers, and your aftercare and follow-up. That's a big part of why the headline price feels so reasonable. A lot is bundled into it. This is also where you should check that affordable doesn't mean stripped down. A good package means your technique includes your post-operative support and doesn't disappear once you've flown home. At Vera Clinic, our packages are built to cover the full journey: surgery, accommodation, transfers, and aftercare. So the price you see is the experience you actually get. You can compare what's included on our cost page, linked in our description. So to bring it together, a hair transplant in Turkey is affordable because of the exchange rate, lower local costs, high volume, and strong competition, not because the surgery is any lesser. The savings are real and they're explainable. What price alone can't tell you is whether a specific clinic does the work properly. That comes down to the surgeon, the technique, and the aftercare. If you want to see exactly how Turkey compares to the US and UK and what goes into a Vera Clinic package, the full cost breakdown is on our website, link in the description. Got a question about your own case? Drop it in the comments. And if this helped, follow along. We answer the questions patients actually ask, one video at a time. See you in the next one.